What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So, welcome back to another part of 3 handguns that are better for home defense than concealed carry. No more beating around the bush. This is part 4. Let's get right into it. So, for starters, we're going to start with the Smith & Wesson M&P 10mm. So, some of y'all might be wondering what made me choose this particular gun, why I would recommend it's better for home defense than concealed carry. Well, obviously, if you guys have seen the previous 3 parts, you're going to know that size has something to do with it. It is a full-size 10mm handgun. But there are a couple of more, reasons why I believe it is as good as it is for home defense compared to concealed carry. So let's get into it. For starters, we're going to start off with the round it shoots. 10mm itself is a pretty solid round. Nobody can make an argument against 10mm. One thing I will say that kind of, sucks about it is that the ammo you get will be pretty inconsistent. And this isn't to say like, oh yeah, you get one box of 50 rounds and, every other round is going to be inconsistent with the loading or anything like that. What I more so mean is just that different brands load the rounds different ways, which of course you experience, similar inconsistencies with, almost every other caliber, except with 10mm, it's much more noticeable. Some 10mm ammo, you can shoot pretty soft, like 40 Smith & Wesson soft, and some other 10 mil ammo you can compare to 357 Magnum. So I mean you get a you get some pros and cons there just with that. However, the capability of the 10mm round itself is undoubted. There's no doubt in my mind that you will be able to defend your home with a 10mm handgun. And for any of y'all who maybe aren't from areas where let me preface this before I say this. Obviously, those of y'all who know a good bit about 10mm know that it's often a round that's carried in the woods. It's often carried, by people where you're more likely than not to run across bears or larger animals that will become a threat to your life. For those of y'all who might live in a similar area like I do, like I live in Central Florida, you know what I mean? Some of y'all might be wondering, oh, will 10mm be, an effective round for self-defense down here? If y'all don't remember the Ybor mass shooting, wasn't a mass shooting, just a bunch of people letting off shots as soon as one person in self-defense shot somebody. But whatever. The round that was used by the guy who defended himself was a 10mm. So yes, 10mm, even in city situations, will definitely do the job. There's no argument about that. Would I go much higher than 10mm though when it comes to really any handgun round for self-defense? Probably not, because then you're going to start worrying about over penetration. I'm getting off topic here. Let me get back to the Smith & Wesson M&P 10mm though. Beyond just the 10mm round, the M&P 10mm comes with a good bit right out of the box. That's just what Smith & Wesson has been doing recently. And hey, you got to respect it. American company, pretty good prices, pretty good products out of it. You got to respect it. So a lot of them, if I'm not mistaken, are all coming MOS, meaning that you can put an optic on there if you want to. A lot of them I'm seeing are coming with threaded barrels, rails on there as well. It has a good capacity of 15+1. Now, will maybe Smith & Wesson try to increase, I guess, the amount of magazines or the type of magazines they have for it? I guess you could say maybe for a stick mag. Who knows? But overall, especially being chambered in the 10mm round, just the M&P platforms are extremely reliable as it is right now. I mean, there's a good reason why when people are arguing what would be the most comparable handgun when it comes to reliability to a Glock, you often bring up the M&P series. So, I mean, you're getting a pretty damn good gun for the money. Not to mention that with the round it shoots and the capacity you get out of it, yeah, it's going to be very good for home defense. Why would I argue it's not the best for concealed carry? More likely than not, it's simply just going to be the size. I mean, anything other than that, with just it being too big of a gun itself, you're worrying about a couple of things. You're worrying about comfortability, which we all know carrying a gun isn't necessarily the most comfortable thing. However, there's, you gotta have some level of comfortability to even want to carry the gun. But beyond just the level of comfortability, you're dealing with possible excessive printing. You're dealing with a good little bit there. So, just due to the size, would I recommend it for concealed carry? No. Is this to say that it's not reliable enough for concealed carry? No, I wouldn't say that a gun is reliable enough for home defense, but not reliable enough for concealed carry. That doesn't make sense to me. But moving on, next we're going to be talking about the FN 509 full size. So, some of y'all might be wondering, okay, well, FN has dropped a lot of 509s. Why did you make sure to specify the full size? Well, the full size, I don't know. It's not even my favorite out of all of the 509s. My favorite out of the 509 is probably going to be the tactical. But overall, it is a extremely reliable handgun. If you're in a normal state, it's a 17 round capacity, plus one in the chamber, excuse me. FN pretty much has always been known for a good level of reliability. Now, I'm sure some people are going to sit here and be like, oh, well, there's one or two guns that they drop that haven't been reliable. Yeah, sure, but that's also the case with every company. Like even Glock has dropped a handgun that hasn't been reliable. If you don't believe me, look at the Glock 44. Moving on, though, a 17 plus one capacity of 9mm. 9mm is a extremely soft shooting round. Everybody knows that. If I'm not mistaken, it is a double action firearm as well. The reason why I say that is because I don't own that gun. You know what I mean? I'm talking to you guys solely based off the knowledge I have on the firearm, which, of course, because I haven't gotten a ton of experience with it, isn't going to be an unlimited amount. It's going to be limited. Moving on, though, I have watched a good amount of reviews of the full size 509. I haven't seen too many issues, too many complaints, or really any. One of the only things I've legitimately heard, and of course this is more so a subjective thing, is I've heard one or two people say they're not the biggest fans of the trigger, which that really doesn't mean much to me, considering every gun YouTuber I've ever watched do a review on the gun I conceal carry, which is the Taurus G2C, also says the same thing. So that really doesn't mean too much to me on this. It's extremely reliable. You get a great capacity out of it. It shoots a good round. Excuse me. You get a threaded barrel on it. If I'm not mistaken, I know it's going to have a Picatinny rail, which is a little different than, the normal accessory rail you get with like Glocks, for example. However, if I'm not mistaken, some of them are coming optics ready. So that's also pretty cool. What a lot of people don't realize when, the benefits of a firearm coming optics ready is, while yes, if you throw a light on your gun, it's not gonna be hard for you to aim at that point. However, in a situation like, for example, home defense, which is what we're arguing for this gun for, there's going to be a lot of adrenaline going through your body. You're not going to be, 100%, okay, yeah, let me make sure to line all these sights up. And yeah, in several different ways, it's going to be much easier for you to acquire a red dot sight on target than it would be for your iron sights. Now, of course, in home defense, some people are going to make the argument, well, you're in close enough distance, you might not really have to aim that well, but no matter what, you still want to aim to the best of your capabilities when you are shooting your gun, especially in a life-threatening situation. Now, moving on from the FN 509 full size, and the reason why I didn't just say the 509 variants is because they have compact 509, they have the 509 tactical, they have the 509 tactical compact. They got a lot of different variants on their 509 series. So I'm going to be talking about those separately. I wouldn't consider that, just like how, for example, a gun that I recommended for concealed carry over home defense was the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus, but just because it's an M&P doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about the M&P 10mm just like I did. Moving on, the third and final one, and I think this is probably going to be the most iconic on the list. Not probably, it definitely is. There's no arguing that. It is the Desert Eagle. The Desert Eagle, I have a love-hate relationship with it, as I feel most people who like guns do. And there's a couple of reasons why that is. So, of course, depending on what caliber you're getting it chambered in, it affects the capacity you can have. For example, with 50 AE, if I'm not mistaken, it is 6+1, and then with 44 Magnum, it's 7+1, and then 357 Magnum is 8+1. Or I might be mistaken. I think the 357 Magnum might be 9+1. My whole point is simply that you don't get that great of a capacity out of the gun. Now, is the gun super cool? Yeah, absolutely. There's no arguing against that. However, you're not getting a super great capacity out of the gun. However, the chambering of the firearm, the round that it's chambered in, all three of those rounds are pretty hard-hitting rounds. Those are rounds that can definitely do the job if you hit your target. Now, some of y'all might be wondering, well, why would you even put it on this list if it has such a low capacity? You're such a big capacity guy. You don't recommend anything for levels of home defense or even self-defense that has such a low capacity. Just because I think it might not be the best doesn't mean it wouldn't be worse for another application. So, for example, I would much rather have to use a Desert Eagle for home defense than I would for my everyday carry. And that's my logic on this. So y'all might not like it, but that is my logic on this, and it's my video, so deal with it. Now, back to what I was saying about the Desert Eagle. Desert Eagle, I have never seen one, I have never seen one that has been 100% reliable. I can say that. And that's not a great thing for the firearm. However, once again, with the rounds that it is shooting, if you hit one of those rounds on target, the chances of you stopping them is much higher than it would be for something like a 9mm or even a 10mm. Even at 357 Magnum, it is a pretty hard-hitting round, and that's when you get the most capacity out of it, is with 357 Magnum. Not to mention, let's just be 100% honest here. Who doesn't like the cool factor of a Desert Eagle? Movies, video games, TV shows. The Desert Eagle is almost a media icon when it comes to firearms. And will I say that it's great for home defense? No. But is it much better for home defense than everyday carry or concealed carry? Absolutely. There's no debating that. Just the weight of the Desert Eagle itself makes it much better for home defense. And some of y'all might argue, oh, well, if it weighs that much, why would you even use it for home defense? I'm not saying go out of your way to use it for home defense. What I'm saying simply is that if you had to choose, okay, you are using this Desert Eagle, there's no arguing about that. You can choose whether to use it for home defense or concealed carry. I can English. Or concealed carry. I'm going to tell you to use it for home defense simply due to the fact that it is roughly a 4-pound gun. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I carry 2 guns on me already, and they're both nowhere near the weight of the Desert Eagle and a couple of spare mags. And I'm like, dude, I need a tighter belt. You see what I mean? So imagine a 4-pound gun, and imagine if your appendix carrying that. Oh, God. Getting muzzle punched right in the balls by a Desert Eagle has to be an extremely painful experience. I'm getting off topic. All right, I'm getting off topic here. Long story short, though, is the Desert Eagle bad or incapable of defending yourself in either situation, concealed carry or home defense? No, but why would you want to carry a gun that big, that heavy? And truth be told, with some of the rounds that it comes chambered in, like 44 Magnum and 50 Action Express, you're worried about overpenetration. That is 100% a worry. There's no, oh, well, it won't go through. These hollow points are super good hollow points. You're still worried about overpenetration. Those are some pretty powerful rounds. But I think that about wraps up for this video. I can tell I'm about to go back on my rants. I can tell I'm about to go back in circles again. But regardless, those are 3 handguns that I would that are much better for home defense than concealed carry. Once again, the Smith & Wesson M&P 10mm, FN 509 full size, and then the Desert Eagle, whatever caliber you choose on that one. But I think that about wraps up for this video. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And whether or not you agree with me on this, if you don't, I would be very shocked, confused, and flabbergasted as to why that is, and would like to know down in the comments down below. But whether or not you agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.